I was never, I was just more shocked because, I was all like, man, no way they can trade me.
It's official. Anthony Davis is now a Golden State Warrior. The trade happened after Jimmy Butler's season-ending ACL tear created the salary match Dallas needed. Now, Butler is heading to the Mavericks as the centerpiece of the deal. But can Davis actually stay healthy long enough to save Curry's championship window? We've got all the details. Let's get into it. The trade that shook the NBA. The Dallas Mavericks are finalizing a deal to send Anthony Davis to the Golden State Warriors. The trade package centers around Jimmy Butler as part of a multi-team scenario with the Chicago Bulls. This trade marks the end of an experiment that never fully materialized in Dallas. The Mavericks acquired Davis from the Los Angeles Lakers on February 5th, 2025, in exchange for Luka Doncic. The deal was supposed to form a championship-caliber core with Kyrie Irving and rookie Cooper Flagg. The Mavericks' performance this season hovered around a 500 record and struggled with injuries and chemistry issues. Davis arrived in Dallas with a massive contract. His $54.1 million salary this season is part of a 5-year, $189.9 million contract with player options through 2027-28. That contract added complexity to any deal as teams had to navigate salary matching under the NBA's collective bargaining agreement.
Anthony Davis to the Warriors? Well, it may not be the Warriors wanting to make that happen, but instead the Dallas Mavericks. However, Golden State may be reluctant to give up a certain somewhat.
The Warriors needed a dominant interior presence to complement Stephen Curry. Reports indicated that the Mavericks proactively reached out to the Warriors about a potential Davis trade. Golden State initially showed reluctance to part with key veterans like Jimmy Butler or Draymond Green.
Be talking about an Anthony Davis trade, but it would require the inclusion of Draymond Green, and it should be noted that it was the Mavs who called Golden State about trading Draymond Green or trading it for Anthony Davis and not the other way around.
Butler carried a similar $54.1 million salary. He was acquired by the Warriors in a 2025 trade from the Miami Heat, but then came the injury that changed everything. On January 19th, 2026, Butler suffered a torn right anterior cruciate ligament during a game against the Miami Heat. The Warriors announced he would miss the remainder of the 2025-26 season.
Mark, I have to ask you, when Jimmy Butler tore his ACL the other night, AD and Jimmy Butler make like the same amount of money, and so a lot of Mavs fans' antenna went up and started thinking, well, the Warriors, they have a pretty old team. They want to make one more run at it for Steph. You would presume could maybe some desperation set in and the Mavs score a pick or two in the future along with Butler for AD.
Davis himself was dealing with injuries. He sustained ligament damage in his left hand on January 8th, 2026, expected to sideline him for at least 6 weeks. This injury dampened overall trade interest initially, as potential suitors weighed the risks of his well-documented durability concerns. Charles Barkley saw the writing on the wall during a Christmas Day broadcast.
He said, "What are the Mavs going to do? They in trouble now. Because it's clear to me that Anthony Davis, as much as we like him and love him as a player, he's never going to be healthy. I think I might move on. If I was running the team, I'd say, you know what, it's Cooper's team now."
The Mavericks sat 12-20 at certain points this season. Cooper Flagg was putting up strong rookie numbers while waiting for the team to figure itself out. Something had to give. Agent Rich Paul of Clutch Sports reportedly pushed for a trade to position Davis for a lucrative extension in August 2026, potentially a 4-year, $275 million deal. The Mavericks had not committed to such an offer, citing Davis's age and limited play this season.
Makes me wonder if that's not something that's also being engineered by Clutch potentially.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point because they do like to, move chess pieces behind the scenes and whatnot and try to get their guys in the most advantageous situation.
Mark Stein provided insight on the trade dynamics.
Yeah, look, I don't think the Mavs, the phones will continue to ring, calls will still continue to be taken and made, but the reality is when Anthony Davis is sidelined indefinitely, it's going to be much harder to trade him. I would say right now there doesn't appear to be anything percolating, but I'm not going to say it's over when we've still got 2 weeks and change to go.
The Bulls entered the picture as a potential facilitator. Chicago was 2 games out of a top 6 Eastern Conference spot as of late January 2026. The Bulls could aggregate salaries to help route assets between Dallas and Golden State. Davis has Chicago roots. He grew up in the city and attended Perspectives Charter School. The Bulls needed front court upgrades to complement young talents like Josh Giddey and Matas Buzelis. Hypothetical trade proposals suggested the Bulls could send protected first-round picks to Dallas while facilitating salary matching. This would allow the Warriors to land Davis without directly trading core players. NBA insider Mark Stein noted that while Davis's availability was certainly possible, Chicago's front office under Arturas Karnisovas showed no concrete evidence of intent to act on the speculation. But as the deadline approached, all the pieces fell into place. Butler's injury created urgency, the salary numbers matched, and the Warriors decided to make their move. Jimmy Butler's devastating injury and its ripple effects. The injury that changed everything happened on January 19, 2026. Jimmy Butler went down during a 135-1-12 victory over his former team, the Miami Heat. He suffered the torn ACL in the third quarter after an awkward landing while attempting to catch a pass, a non-contact injury, the worst kind. The Warriors announced the news the following day. Butler would miss the remainder of the 2025-26 season and undergo surgery at a date to be determined. At 36 years old, with a recovery timeline potentially extending into the next season, this represented a significant crossroads for both Butler and the franchise. Butler's right knee already carried a troubling history, a meniscus tear in 2018 and an MCL. Sprain in 2024 raised legitimate concerns about his long-term durability. The accumulation of trauma to that joint could accelerate degenerative changes that no amount of rehabilitation can fully reverse. Warriors general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. addressed the situation in a January 20th, 2026 press conference. He expressed optimism about Butler's rehabilitation while acknowledging the challenge of ACL injuries, emphasizing the team's support for his recovery. The timing created a painful irony. Butler had been a legitimate difference maker since arriving from Miami. With Butler in uniform, the Warriors had posted a record of approximately 46-22. His integration into the lineup provided defensive versatility and secondary scoring that perfectly aligned with the franchise's championship aspirations.
And Jimmy Butler has been a fantastic Warrior since they got him. I think with Jimmy in uniform, I want to say their record last time I checked was 46-22 when Jimmy's in uniform. So he's been really good there. I don't see them now just coldly sending him away because he sustained this awful injury and he can't play.
Before the injury, Butler had averaged 20.0 points, 5.6 rebounds, 4.9 assists, and 1.5 steals per game across 38 starts in the 2025-26 season. Those numbers reflected exactly what the Warriors had traded for, a two-way contributor who could share the offensive burden with Curry while defending opposing stars. The psychological impact of ACL tears in professional basketball extends far beyond the physical recovery. Research indicates that fear of re-injury affects up to 40% of returning athletes, influencing on-court aggression and decision-making long after the surgical incision has healed. For Butler, a player whose identity centers on mental toughness and playoff excellence, the isolation of rehabilitation presents unique challenges. Studies show that return-to-play rates in the NBA hover around 85-90% for players sustaining isolated ACL tears, but only about 65-70% regain peak performance metrics. The numbers become more concerning for players over 30. Historical parallels paint a complex picture. Derrick Rose's multiple knee issues shortened his prime dramatically. Klay Thompson returned effectively after both ACL and Achilles tears, but required significant role adjustments. Butler, at 36, faces the reality that recovery at his age carries increased retirement risk within 3 to 5 years post-injury. But even with Butler sidelined, the Warriors had publicly and internally signaled reluctance to trade him. Dunleavy stated he did not envision moving Butler's contract, prioritizing his return as a boost similar to his impact during the previous season. The franchise had assured Butler about returning next season.
There's various factors that would be in the way of that kind of scenario. I mean, yes, Jimmy Butler's money, that would be an easy match for Anthony Davis, but the Mavericks would want draft compensation attached.
Yet Butler's $54.1 million salary served as a critical matching tool under NBA salary cap rules. This made him a potential centerpiece in blockbuster deals, whether the Warriors wanted to admit it publicly or not. The relationship between Dunleavy and Butler added another dimension. As former teammates, they shared history that transcended typical GM-player dynamics. Trading an injured teammate mere days after a devastating injury carried emotional weight that spreadsheets couldn't capture.
And the other thing you got to remember here, there is a human factor. Mike Dunleavy, the Warriors GM, is a former teammate of Jimmy Butler.
The Warriors faced a fundamental question: commit to Butler's rehabilitation and potential return, sacrificing the current window around Curry's remaining prime years, or leverage his contract value while it still meant something in trade negotiations. Butler had earned his place through performance. He helped the Warriors achieve a 50-29 record in games he played, including that strong 25-19 start to the 2025-26 season. The man delivered when healthy, but when healthy had become the operative phrase around too many conversations. The franchise that prided itself on loyalty and culture faced the cold calculus of championship windows and aging stars.
The Warriors have no choice but to make some sort of aggressive trade at this deadline. It's kind of difficult to figure out. Jimmy Butler is out for the year, and so what that has done is it's made it complicated with Moses Moody's salary.
The injury didn't just affect Butler. It rippled through every trade conversation the Warriors would have before the deadline. Anthony Davis, the complicated superstar. Understanding why the Warriors ultimately targeted Anthony Davis requires understanding who Anthony Davis actually is, both the transcendent talent and the fragile body that houses it. Davis was born on March 11, 1993 in Chicago, Illinois. He grew up in the Inglewood neighborhood and attended Perspectives Charter School, a small institution not traditionally known for producing elite athletes. The school lacked a dedicated gym. The resources were minimal. None of that mattered once Davis started growing. His transformation defied normal development patterns. From 6'9" as a freshman to 6'10" by his senior year, Davis went from guard to dominant forward-center hybrid in the span of 3 high school years. The basketball world took notice. He earned McDonald's All-American honors, Jordan Brand Classic Co-MVP, Parade All-American, and Mr. Basketball of Illinois in 2011. Scout.com rated him the #1 player in the class of 2011. He committed to the University of Kentucky under coach John Calipari on August 13, 2010. Kentucky became the launching pad. During his lone college season with the Wildcats in 2011-12, Davis led the team to a 38-2 record and the NCAA National Championship, defeating Kansas 67-59 in the title game. As a freshman starting all 40 games, he accumulated accolades that typically take players' entire careers to achieve: consensus National Player of the Year, NABC Defensive Player of the Year, USBWA National Freshman of the Year, SEC Player of the Year, SEC Defensive Player of the Year, and SEC Rookie of the Year. He set NCAA freshman and SEC single-season records for blocks. The New Orleans Hornets selected him #1 overall in the 2012 NBA draft. He entered the league as a franchise-altering big man with immense expectations attached. Davis delivered. He earned NBA All-Rookie First-Team honors and led the league in blocks as a rookie. Over 7 seasons with New Orleans, 2012-2019, he transformed into a dominant two-way force. His first All-Star selection came in 2014. He led the league in blocks 3 times: 2014, 2015, 2018. The 2017 All-Star Game showcased his scoring capacity. Davis scored 52 points in a record-breaking performance that earned him All-Star Game MVP honors. He led the Pelicans to the playoffs in 2015 and 2018, advancing to the second round in the latter year. But persistent injuries and team struggles prompted a trade request in January 2019. The move to the Los Angeles Lakers in June of that year changed everything. Alongside LeBron James, Davis achieved his championship destiny. The 2020 NBA championship came via a 4-2 finals victory over the Miami Heat during the pandemic-shortened bubble season. This title completed his basketball triple crown: NCAA championship, Olympic gold 2012, and FIBA World Cup gold 2014. He became the first player to achieve this quartet when adding the NBA ring.
Did those things sort of give you the experience and the mental fortitude to be able to handle something like this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you obviously playing in LA and then alongside LeBron, you can't really get any bigger than that, right? And then just playing in the Olympics. I think the Olympics this year, when I was playing with all those wonderful guys, Hall of Famers, on the biggest stage, the entire world is watching. I think those moments, playing in the finals, those moments help me prepare for something like this.
Davis accumulated 10 All-Star selections between 2014, 2021, and 2024 to 2025, 5 All-NBA honors, 4 First Team, and 5 All-Defensive nods during his Lakers tenure. The franchise recognized his value with lucrative extensions. He added another Olympic gold in 2024. The inaugural NBA Cup in 2023 became another trophy for his collection, but injuries shadowed every triumph: calf strains, knee issues, and adductor strain. Davis missed significant time in several seasons, fueling the narrative that his body couldn't sustain his talent.
Is AD's poor play in the second half concerning?
Atrocious.
Oh.
Very concerning. Ladies and gentlemen, You just saw the reason why the Los Angeles Lakers ain't gonna win no championship this year. You talk all of this mess in the offseason. I'm so ticked off at Anthony Davis right now. It's an embarrassment what happened with him yesterday, and we gotta call it like we see it.
The criticism followed him everywhere. Charles Barkley labeled him street clothes. Stephen A. Smith called him Six Flags, a roller coaster up and down, never knowing what you'll get.
When this brother brings his A game, he's one of the top 7 players on the planet Earth. Charles Barkley calls him street clothes. I said no. I call him Six Flags. He's a roller coaster. He's up and down. You never know what you're gonna get. He'll drop 40 one game, he'll drop 11 the next.
The blockbuster trade on February 5th, 2025, sent Davis to the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for Luka Doncic, a new chapter aimed at bolstering Dallas's front court. His Mavericks debut was delayed by injuries, including a detached retina requiring surgery and protective goggles, but he returned to contribute. Davis described his approach to the trade with characteristic calm.
At the end of the day, it's a business, and I understand that. I was never, I was just more shocked because, I was all like, man, no way they can trade me. When you're one of those players, and I'm pretty sure like on the other side for Luka as well, like both of us probably never thought that we'll be the ones getting traded unless we asked. Every day that goes as past, I just forget about it more and more.
Now at 32, in his 14th NBA season, Davis finds himself changing addresses again. The hand ligament injury sustained on January 8, 2026 temporarily dampened his trade value, but for a team desperate to extend Curry's championship window, the risk proved worth taking. The Warriors' quest to save Curry's legacy. The Golden State Warriors' transformation from laughingstock to dynasty represents one of professional sports' greatest organizational turnarounds. Understanding their current desperation requires understanding what they built and what they stand to lose. Joe Lacob purchased the team in 2010 for $450 million alongside Peter Guber. The franchise had languished in mediocrity for years. Lacob, a venture capitalist with a background in biotechnology and a passion for basketball, emphasized building through the draft and fostering a high-tempo three-point oriented style that revolutionized the league. The foundation came through exceptional drafting. Stephen Curry arrived in 2009, 7th overall, Klay Thompson in 2011, 11th overall, and Draymond Green in 2012, 35th overall. The Splash Brothers nickname captured Curry and Thompson's shooting prowess. Green's defensive versatility and playmaking completed the core. The hiring of head coach Steve Kerr in 2014 proved transformational. Kerr, a former player and broadcaster, implemented a motion offense that maximized spacing and ball movement. The Warriors won their first championship in 40 years in 2015 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then came Kevin Durant. The 2016 free agency coup followed the Warriors' record-setting 73-9 regular season in 2015-16, which had ended in that heartbreaking finals loss to Cleveland after blowing a 3-1 lead. Durant's addition created an unprecedented super team. The quartet of Curry, Thompson, Durant, and Green led the Warriors to back-to-back titles in 2017 and 2018, both against the Cavaliers. The franchise reached 6 NBA Finals between 2015 and 2022, winning 4 championships. They relocated to the state-of-the-art Chase Center in San Francisco in 2019. The Golden Dynasty had cemented its place in basketball history. Durant's departure in 2019 following a ruptured Achilles in the finals loss to Toronto marked the beginning of transition. Thompson's torn ACL, then Achilles, sidelined him for years. The Warriors finished last in 2019-20, but the core proved resilient, capturing a 4th title in 2022 by defeating the Boston Celtics. The post-dynasty phase brought new challenges. Bob Myers, the architect GM who built the roster, resigned in 2023, citing burnout. Mike Dunleavy Jr., a former Warriors player and executive, took over with a focus on blending veteran leadership with youth development. Under Lacob and Dunleavy, the Warriors have attempted to extend Curry's window while preparing for the future. Jonathan Kuminga, 2021, 7th overall, and Brandon Podziemski, 2023, 19th overall, represent the next generation. Green signed a 2023 extension. The Jimmy Butler acquisition from Miami in February 2025 was supposed to provide the final championship piece. The deal sent Andrew Wiggins, Chris Paul, and other assets to Miami. Butler's toughness paired with Curry's shooting seemed like a formula for one more run. Then came Butler's ACL tear. The franchise sat at 27-22 as of late January 2026, facing questions about whether their window had officially closed.
That's why I keep coming back to Anthony Davis. He's the only guy that isn't going to cost you too many draft picks or force you to sacrifice your playoff ceiling on defense by including Draymond. So looking at the Anthony Davis deal, it capitalizes on the urgency of the Steph situation without being so expensive that it's detrimental to their long-term future.
Curry turned 38 this season. His timeline became the defining factor in every organizational decision.
What I would say, though, is ultimately, to me, you have all these conversations with Stephen Curry. He's the guy whose timeline matters most. If Stephen Curry goes to the front office and says, guys, I want to, let's do anything we can. Let's make the best trade we can make. I want to go as far as we can this season.
Lacob's vision remained ambitious. He publicly committed to aggressive pursuits for championships rather than tanking. The franchise's evolution reflected his hands-on approach, often consulting with Kerr and Curry on decisions. Thompson's departure in 2024 had already altered the roster's composition. Green's behavioral concerns added uncertainty, but Curry's ongoing excellence demanded that the organization act boldly.
Joe owes it to Steph to go for it while he's here. So I think that they're still going to trade Kuminga. That's what I'm hoping.
The Kuminga situation complicated matters. The young forward demanded a trade the day he became trade eligible. His inconsistent play and DNP coach's decisions diminished his value at exactly the wrong time.
Look, I think the realistic situation is they're going to have to play him. He's going to have, and, they've tried to get the Mavericks interested in him. I would play him against the Mavs. He's got to start playing.
Dunleavy acknowledged the tension. Getting value for Kuminga while still going all in on the championship window required careful navigation. The Jimmy Butler injury made Kuminga even harder to move. The Warriors' salary structure limited their options. Without including Butler or Green, acquiring any high salary star became nearly impossible. The franchise that had revolutionized basketball with small ball lineups and three-point shooting now faced the harsh mathematics of the modern NBA salary cap.
I think it's interesting that if they're not interested in trading either one of those guys, math-wise, that all but takes them out of the mix for any of the higher salaried players, which would include Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis represented the solution. His defensive impact could replace what Butler provided. His offensive versatility complemented Curry's game, and his salary matched Butler's, making the trade mechanics feasible. For a franchise built on loyalty and culture, trading an injured teammate represented a painful departure from their values. But Curry's remaining years demanded bold action. The dynasty's final chapter required one more piece. Beyond the court, two superstars, two different paths. The trade involves two of the NBA's most interesting figures off the basketball court. Both Anthony Davis and Jimmy Butler have built identities that extend far beyond their playing careers. Davis has strategically diversified his portfolio beyond basketball. In October 2024, he launched Jack M3 Productions, a full-service production company where he serves as CEO. The company focuses on developing and financing projects across film, television, and other media. Davis assembled a seasoned executive team, including Eric Burks as Chief Operating Officer and Keith Chamberlain as Head of Development. His endorsement portfolio contributes substantially to his off-court earnings, estimated in the range of $10–15 million annually. Following his trade to the Mavericks, Davis signed a reported 5-year signature shoe deal with Puma, marking a shift from his previous Nike affiliation. Other partnerships include Ruffles, where he has been a prominent ambassador since 2020, even inspiring limited edition flavors, Red Bull for energy and performance, ExxonMobil, Mobil One, and Beats Electronics. The deals amplify his visibility through national advertising campaigns and promotional events.
I'm a big kid. I try to stay young. I'm getting up there. I try to stay young, and for me, the game stresses you enough, right? The game of basketball is stressful when you're on the floor because you're so competitive and you want to win. So when I'm not playing basketball, I want to have fun.
Davis's philanthropy flows through the Anthony Davis Foundation, Inc., established in 2018. The foundation provides opportunities for underserved children by rewarding academic excellence, promoting physical activity, and fostering personal development. Notable initiatives include significant donations to the United Negro College Fund and partnerships during crises. He also maintains a playful side that endears him to teammates.
So I was on a show. I still do, watching Practical Jokers all the time. And I got invited to do an episode with the Practical Jokers, and I couldn't turn it down. So I went and did the episode and hit a ball. It was maybe one of the best times of my life.
Really?
And after me and the guys were talking, and they were like, we should do something together, like let's collab on something.
Butler's entrepreneurial journey took a different path. His most prominent venture is the Big Face coffee brand, which began informally during the 2020 NBA bubble. Dissatisfied with available coffee options, Butler started brewing and selling premium coffee from his hotel room at $20 per cup. The impromptu shop gained viral attention. Butler transformed Big Face into a legitimate lifestyle brand, officially launching in 2021 with trademark filings and a full website rollout in 2023. By 2025-2026, the brand expanded significantly, opening its first physical store, partnering with Onyx Coffee Lab for collaborations, and announcing a third joint project with Bacardi Rum to extend the Rum Room Domino Club concept to San Francisco. In October 2025, Butler acquired a minority stake in the San Diego Waived FC of the NWSL, joining athletes investing in women's soccer. He also invested $500,000 in the Paddle Reserve Cup, a paddle tennis venture that he credits with improving his on-court agility. On the creative side, Butler has pursued music production. He quietly recorded country music songs and amassed over 60 tracks by early 2024, with ambitions to curate from up to 200 before releasing a debut album. He has teased collaborations with artists like Morgan Wallen. Butler has also been an advocate for mental health awareness in sports. He participated in a 2021 Men's Health Roundtable alongside figures like John Batiste, emphasizing vulnerability, self-care, and thriving under pressure. Both players carry the weight of their backgrounds. Davis emerged from a small Chicago charter school with no gym. Butler overcame homelessness during his teenage years before attending Tyler Junior College and eventually Marquette. Butler's draft position, 30th overall in 2011, the last pick of the first round, seemed to cap his potential, but his work ethic transformed him from defensive specialist to six-time All-Star. His journey across 4 franchises, Bulls, Timberwolves, 76ers, Heat, before joining Golden State, demonstrated both his value and his volatility. Davis's path appeared more traditional. Number 1 overall pick after leading Kentucky to a national championship, NCAA Player of the Year honors, a clear trajectory to stardom, yet injuries complicated every chapter of his story. Now their fates have intertwined in the most unexpected way. Butler's torn ACL created the salary matching opportunity. Davis's availability provided the solution. 2 players who built their identities through resilience and adaptation find themselves central to a trade that neither could have anticipated. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, keep the adventure alive by clicking on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content.